What's the crack, everyone? My name's HarryAtomic, and today I thought what we would do is we would take a look at the game room. Now, this room has changed a lot. I know before you only really saw like the background. Not this one, this is a different wall than the last time. But all those pictures have been taken down. I've taken like the last 2 days to completely tear the whole room apart, get it ready to receive some retro goodness. Now, also, there was a comment brought up in the last video, which I think is really important. Someone asked if I considered like the DS retro. I think it's a bigger question. I think it's more, what do I consider retro? Really, what I'm talking about is just older games that may not be on current generation. So, if I say retro, I may mean anything right up to the fucking Xbox 360. I may mean anything right back to the old, whatever the old stuff is. Plus, I'm extremely new to this, so the collection's a little bit small at the moment, but I thought it'd be nice if we followed along and watched it grow together, and if I get any new stuff, we can talk about it. But anyways, let's move on to the brand new, improved HarryAtomic place room where I do things in. So this is the new game room. What you can see here is it's a bit bare looking. This is where all the pictures were before, but now all the consoles are there in their own little boxes. So to the right there's a Mario Kart display stand. I really like it. Those speakers are broken. Those will be gone soon. They're doing my head on. But yeah, the Mario Kart stand is something that a friend gave me. I'm really happy with it. I think it really sort of like, when you walk in the door, it's the first thing you see. I think that's pretty cool. Over to the side, we have a few of my knickknacks that sit up on top of my glass cabinet that you saw there in the corner. Inside the glass cabinet's just things I've kind of come across that don't really fit anywhere else. So I got like the Minecraft anatomy thing for my birthday, some Doctor Who stuff, some more Doctor Who stuff, and some Fallout bobbleheads, and some Pokemon cards, and just some other random bits and bobs down at the bottom, as well as the SNES Super Scope. So here you see all the retro consoles. They're all lined up nice and they've been cleaned, and no 90s themed room is complete without a lava lamp. So here's the N64. This is the same N64 that I had when I was really young. I managed to keep it running the entire time. It was the most played console in my house when I was younger. And here's the NES. No game room is complete without an original NES console. Now, the NES is the newest edition. I just picked it up there at Christmas and it works perfectly. I'm having no trouble with the 72-pin connector. Unfortunately, because I'm using a HD TV, the light gun doesn't work. But other than that, it works great. And here's the Gamecube. Haven't got a lot of games for it, but I'll be focusing on it more in the coming months. And here's just some camera stuff. I like to keep all the camera stuff beside the TV so it's easier to kind of pick up. And this is the Spectrum. This was actually my dad's console. I have a few videos on the Spectrum before because as soon as I got it, I fell in love with it. And games were on tapes way back in the day, even before cartridges. So it's not working at the moment. There was a few problems with it, so it's an ongoing project to get it up and running. And here's the original Sega Megadrive, or the Genesis as it's known in the States. But the Mega Drive was one of my favorite consoles when I was younger. I got this before the SNES, so this was my first 16-bit console. And I just fell in love with it. And it was always a toss-up. I could never tell which one was better. It seems here in the UK we had a healthy appreciation for the Mega Drive. And next we have the original PlayStation, the one that started it all. Now, I had this since I was younger as well. It's the same one that's kind of been cleaned. There's still some dirt on it. I must get that later. The only thing I added to it since I was younger was the controller on the left. My original one broke, so you gotta have an original controller. I had a DualShock lying around, but there's something charming about that original PlayStation controller without the analog sticks, and so it still works. The spindle's a bit funny on it, but other than that, it works fine. And tucked away, hiding in the corner, is the original Xbox. Now, I never had an Xbox when I was younger. This was given to me by a friend. There's no controller for it. There's one on the way. I've never actually played an original Xbox, so I'm looking forward to getting stuck on. This PlayStation 3 does not work. Hopefully I can get it working. And this is one of the two Xbox 360s at home. Any more modern consoles are all in the living room. And I finally have a place to display the HTC Vive. It's always kind of sat in with a few accessories up in its own box, but now it's got a nice place where it's displayed. And just for completeness, here is the little server that runs the whole room. This is Bronzor server. It's just an old Mac Mini with a few hard drives connected, and it's a Plex server, media server, file server, backup server. Way too much stuff that one Mac Mini should be doing, but until it bursts into flames, it's gonna keep doing it. And up on top, there's a few knickknacks as well, just to tie the room together. You can see here, there's a few plushes, and in the back there, that's an original Sinclair joystick for the Spectrum. And because it's me, when I'm not gaming, I enjoy playing a bit of guitar, so I've had this amp forever. I love it. There's nothing wrong with it in my eyes, and this is my favorite guitar. And here is the shelves that have been put in place of some other furniture that used to take up space, and it contains all the games that I currently have. It's a mishmash at the moment, but we'll add it as time goes on. Ignore those bottom two shelves. So we only have one Wii game, Super Paper Mario. I couldn't pass it up, had to pick up a Wii game. And then just some miscellaneous DS games. My most favorite are the two gold cover Zelda cartridges, the Ocarina of Time and Link Between Worlds. And there's two NES games. The NES came with Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt. And then there's some SNES games, some N64 games, just a few things that I salvaged from whenever I was younger and managed to keep running. And so the newest addition to the NES collection is the gold cartridge Zelda 2. My uncle had a copy of this, and I always borrowed it on him, and I never had a copy of my own. I always had Zelda 1, and so now I own my own gold cartridge Zelda 2. And Perfect Dark for the N64, that's one that I've just coveted ever since I was younger. I played it before I was 18. And here's some Game Gear games, of which mine broke, Megadrive games, and then a Retro City Rampage NES box thing from some bundle. And here are my favorite 3 Sega games. All the Wonder Boy series I'm just absolutely in love with. So there's the original Wonder Boy for the Game Gear. There's Wonder Boy and the Dragon's Trap for Game Gear, and then my favourite of all is Wonder Boy in Monster World for the Sega Megadrive, with my original save still on there. And another choice pick from the Megadrive collection is the Castle of Illusions cart. This was another one that I just fell in love with when I was younger. And then a Honeybee cart. There's a funny story behind this cart. This is a cart that allows you to play import games on your Megadrive. And whenever I was younger, one thing that I always did at the weekend, which I'm sure most people did, was you got to rent a video game for the weekend. So you didn't have to buy new games all the time, and you could play newer stuff when it came out. But the video shop that I went to every so often had some import cartridges, and so I played some really weird games, but my dad was nice enough to pick me up one of these Honeybee cartridges so I could play everything on it. So I'm glad that I managed to keep that. It holds a nice sentimental place for me. And then just some other small choice stuff. There's a Simpsons game for Gamecube, some Game Boy miscellaneous games, and then a repro card of Mega Man, the Wily Wars. I'm a huge Mega Man fan, so I'm so happy to have the Wily Wars. We got a cart release of it here in Europe. I know it was part of some Mega Drive cable download service in the States, but I just couldn't wait to play it, and I got it as a present for Christmas along with the Mega Man hat I was wearing in the last video. And then some of the choice Game Boy games. We have the original Super Mario Land. There's Mario 3, I think it is, Wario Land. It was the first time I ever saw Wario, and I just fell in love with him. The trading card game for Game Boy, and the original Tetris, which, as you can see, has been well played over the years. And then just a box of Xbox games that I picked up. There's some really weird miscellaneous stuff on there. I'm glad I have Wolfenstein. I can't wait to play that, but I need my controller first. And then PC games. I know it's weird to have boxed PC games because of Steam and whatever, but I do enjoy having some physical media every now and then. So any games that I really love on PC, I always try to find like a physical copy of just to kind of display. And then the second biggest number of games that I have for a system, which ironically I don't have the system, is the PlayStation 2 games. I again just picked up a massive box of these for next to nothing just to kind of fill out the shelves. And my favorite of which is Dirge of Cerberus. This is one that I actually had for years and held on to. I'm in love with this game. I love anything Final Fantasy VII. So I know it's not the best game, but I'm just glad that I have it because it's part of the Final Fantasy VII world. And here's some PS1 games. Again, a small enough selection, just a few that I was given or found or had for years. So Final Fantasy VII is there, Grand Theft Auto, the X-Files. I love the X-Files, so I remember that game being like the coolest fucking thing whenever it came out, because it had actual movie stuff in it. It was like an episode. And here is the biggest slice of games that I've got. These are all the Commodore 64 games. Every single one of these has been in my house for 25 or 30 years. I'm in love with them. They're so sentimental to me, and I'm glad that I still have them all. Some choice ones from it are Ghostbusters, Manic Miner, Batman, and Tempest. These are ones I played a wee bit when I was younger, but I was very, very young. I mean, I was only maybe about 3 or 4 years old. And the two that I loved most, which I had to show in the video, were Yogi Bear and Hong Kong Phooey. I loved the cartoons, and I just loved the fact that there was a game of these things that I could sit and play. So that's all the games. Here is just some storage crap. It's some plastic tubs that I keep things in. Now, all handhelds have their own drawer, so the Game Boy battery pack is in there, so I don't have to use batteries, and there's loads of other wee handhelds. The only one that doesn't work is the original Game Boy, which is sad because it was my childhood Game Boy, but it's a pretty common problem, so I'm going to try and fix it. And this is the PC. I'm sure you've seen this enough over the last 300 fucking videos. But yeah, this is where all of the modern gaming gets done. I use 2 landscape and 1 portrait monitor. Portrait monitors are great for reading things or social media, and once you have a portrait monitor, you'll never go back to landscape. And underneath the monitors is just some small little Pokemon things. There's a Solgaleo and a Primal Groudon and then a Pokeball, and inside that is all my Pokemon DS games. And now outside of the office game room is my Amiibo collection. This is proudly displayed in my living room. This is all of the Amiibo except 4. I'm missing 4. There's 3 new Zelda anniversary ones that came out, and then the Dark Donkey Kong Skylander Amiibo that came out I haven't got yet. I got completely obsessed with these. I love that there's nearly a complete collection. It's one of the coolest things they have displayed in 3 glass cabinets. Some of my favorites are the Japanese Rob. I know he got re-released here, but I bought the original one because I fell in love with him. There's Shovel Knight, and there's Gold Mario, the Walmart exclusive. It took me about 2 months of tracking to buy him, not at a ridiculous price. And then obviously it wouldn't be me if I didn't mention the 2 Mega Mans. The Gold Mega Man was a present that I got given, and the original Mega Man was also a present, but that was the first one I ever got. And the Yarn Yoshis. The Yarn Yoshis are amazing. They are just cool little wee different things. So that was the room tour. As you can see, it's very different to what it was before, but it's very inviting as well now to come in and just kind of play some old games, mess around. There's still a lot to be done, so I didn't do any videos on the setup up to this point, obviously, but that was really just because it was just throwing everything into the middle of the room and tidying and pulling it all back out. It was all very messy. But from now on, it's like single things that need to be solved. So, for example, I want to connect all the consoles up at once so that I can just come in and just hit a few buttons and everything just springs to life. So, I'll do a video on that. I want to just make a few other wee small changes around here, like how I'm going to do cables and how I'm going to organize games and clean new games to come in, things like that. So, anyways, let me know what you thought of the room. Let me know what your favourite retro games are, or if you've played any of the games that you see here. I know there's not a lot, and I know some of them are a bit varied, but I'm still learning. We're all learning together. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.